Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Demons Within Us, a mental health Q&A, where I, your host Knock Knock Neo, take mental health questions and mental health related questions from Reddit, and I answer them on video. And I hope to, and one of my goals, or my goal is to make mental health a lot more accessible to people who are trying to self-help. Because from what I've seen, other than seeking counselors or reading self-help books, and maybe even talking to your fellow peers, like on Reddit or Seven Cups, not a lot is out there. And a lot of the times, um, I find that one of the complaints is that people just don't seem to understand them. So who I am is I'm an active listener, and I've been active listening pretty much my whole adolescent life. I never really knew what it was until about 2017 when I volunteered to be an active listener on Seven Cups. Before I get into all of that, actually, no, I'll get more into that stuff later on at the end of the show. But before I get into these questions, I really want to say thank you to everybody who's listening, for everybody who tuned into the first show and the second show, and even if it's your first time, just, anybody who's listening to this episode, I really want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I really hope that what I have to tell you will help you. It's helped me a lot with my own journey. I'm just a regular person who's been through a lot. I've learned a lot in my own personal experiences, and I've also learned a lot in school when I took psychology courses in school. And if you are listening to this because you have a loved one and you want to try to help that loved one, I hope this helps you as well. So please, everybody, thank you very much for listening, and let's get down to it. So first one is, I feel like I'm too broken to date. Okay, guys, this is a little bit of a long one, so bear with me here. Hi all. I'm continually running into the problem of me liking guys I perceive to be on my level, looks, intelligence, etc. And I keep getting rejected while the only guys that are interested in me are country bumpkins with no class and are unmotivated to do anything meaningful with their lives, plus desperation. I'm basically stuck in this cycle of I like a guy doesn't like me back, abandons me at some point. Even when trying to keep my own issues under wraps and not committing any of the relationship sins, such as being too clingy or overly dramatic and the quote unquote jealous girl. I'm a young 21-year-old female, and most people I meet give me a compliment or think I'm likable slash attractive. I'm starting to wonder if it's me. I didn't have the best childhood in some ways, as I dealt with bullying from mostly boys, had medical issues other kids didn't have to deal with, and had an emotionally unavailable mother, which made me grow up fast. As a result of all this, I'm now an adult with major depression, generalized anxiety disorder, and dermatillomania, which is I pick my skin to relieve stress slash take anger out on myself if I'm upset about something. Meds are helping with it, but I have scabs everywhere you can think of on my body, and I feel like I'm too ugly for sex. I also have unresolved abandonment issues, which in some way or another are ruining my life. Therapy hasn't helped with this, unfortunately, even after going for over a year. I'm getting professional help, and I've been on meds to help manage my symptoms, but I'm genuinely questioning if I'm damaged goods at this point. I have traits that would be good in relationships, such as being a good listener, physically affectionate slash lovey-dovey, good manners slash good socializing, and a well-rounded personality with lots of interesting hobbies. But I feel like none of that is good enough. I've noticed most people my age haven't had to deal with unique circumstances like I did, multiple surgeries, orthopedic problems, etc. And they go on to have healthy, secure relationships while I sit there and be abandoned in the dust. I feel angry and resentful that they get their basic needs met emotionally, while I get to have the shitty leftovers to choose from, and almost never getting my needs met in any kind of a relationship, friendships included. My therapist gave me some blunt honesty and asked me if I'd be okay accepting that I'm a late bloomer and behind everyone else. Well, I'm absolutely not okay with it, and I'm resentful that I had it harder than 95% of people my age. I have a twin who has a boyfriend, which makes it worse, and I've had to watch her have it easier all my life. I don't want to be 30 and living in this hell. I will kill myself, and I will find a way. I don't care how selfish it is. Okay, number one, I've been there. I've totally been there. like I said, I've been through a lot, and at my I wouldn't say darkest, but at one of my loneliest moments, I considered becoming a nun. I know that sounds crazy, but I considered becoming a nun because I just felt so alone. I felt so alone, and I felt like, just like this person, I was a great girl. I had great qualities. I'm intelligent. I'm good looking. I get compliments from other people, but nobody really seemed to be interested in me. And I thought maybe that's some sort of calling, that I should actually go be with God. That lasted about a day uh, when I slept on it, and I realized that thought never entered my head. But what I do want to say to this person here is that she is not, you are not too broken to date, but how you perceive yourself has everything to do with the reason why you're going through what you're going through, right? Like this person seems to take a very detached approach. You have which is really good actually. You're able to separate your emotions from yourself and realize when you're being too clingy, you're being overly dramatic and stuff like that. Those are really good things to recognize within yourself, and you know how to stop it. So I really commend you on that one, right? Um, but as far as your beliefs go, from what I understand, it just seems like you are identifying yourself as a broken person. So you're realizing that you have unresolved abandonment issues. As you said here, I also have unresolved abandonment issues. You had an emotionally unavailable mother, as you said up here, which made you grow up fast. But what's interesting to me is that despite all of these really great qualities that you have, you're a good listener, you're physically affectionate, you have good manners with good socializing, and so on and so forth. The biggest thing here is when you say, I feel like none of that is good enough. Why not? Why don't you think none of those things are good enough? Is it because you feel like you're too broken to think that those things will compensate? Does that make sense? And another thing here is where does this person say, I feel angry and resentful that they get their basic needs met emotionally. Okay. And another thing here, I'm absolutely not okay with it, and I'm resentful that I have had it harder than 95% of the people my age. All of those things contribute to your dry spell in dating. Okay, because these are your core beliefs about yourself. You find that your good qualities that you admit are not good enough. You're angry and resentful at the rest of the world, and you are not okay with the fact that you've had to struggle more than 95% of the people that are of your age. Now, I think what helped me was it was to stop identifying as a broken person. Okay, you need to stop identifying as a broken person. Because all of us have been or are broken in some sort of way. We're all messed up in our own twisted way. But what I would have to say to you to I sort of get out of this slump is to change your self perspective. Okay, stop identifying yourself as this broken person. I have, my mom abandoned me. I'm angry at the world. I'm resentful of it. And none of my qualities that I have are good enough. That's probably the biggest one because your qualities are good enough. You seem like you have great qualities too. There, she's a good listener. She's physically affectionate. She has good manners. She has good socializing skills, and she has a well-rounded personality with lots of interesting hobbies. But despite all of those qualities that you believe are good, you believe that being damaged trumps all of that. You even said it yourself. You feel like none of those things are good enough. You need to believe that those things are good enough. That despite the fact that you've had a messed up childhood, that you've had a messed up, that you're angry and that you've had, um, multiple surgeries and orthopedic problems, you are allowing those things to to rule you, to dominate you. And that stuff shows in your attitude, right? So you're angry and resentful, you believe that you're not good enough, you believe that, it's not, life isn't fair. All of those beliefs will show in your attitude. And your attitude is basically how you behave around people. I'm not with you 24/7, obviously, but I'm willing to bet that all that anger and resentment that you have is going to manifest itself. Because that's really what our beliefs do. If you believe that, this giant unicorn is the god and the giant unicorn, rules over earth and this, that, and the third, you're really going to wholeheartedly believe that, right? Christians who believe in a Christian God, they believe that, whatever the Christian God tells them to do, they believe that and they act accordingly. Atheists who don't believe in a God whatsoever, they act out beliefs, based on themselves, what they believe to be true for themselves, right? Now this person, this 21-year-old female, you believe that you're too damaged, right? So in a sense, when you say that you're starting to wonder if it's me, it kind of is, but it's not totally you. Like you don't really understand that it's your attitude that's what's killing you right now. That's what's causing you this dry spell, which is why, because you don't feel like you're good enough, that is why you keep getting rejected by the guys that you do like, and the ones that are attracted to you are the country bumpkins with no class and are unmotivated to do anything meaningful with their lives. Because the the core of who you are is attracting those types of people, right? Because people who are, let's say for example, people who perceive to be on their level of looks and intelligence, they probably have higher self-esteem and maybe even higher self-worth and probably a different self-perspective than you do, right? They probably also have mental health issues, but they're not identifying with their mental health issues. They're not saying, "Oh man, I'm somebody with daddy issues or mommy issues, and I've had a broken leg, and I've had multiple surgeries, and this and the third." They're not valuing those things. They're valuing the things about themselves that they enjoy. Perhaps it could be, they're valuing their intelligence. They're valuing their sportsmanship or their leadership skills or their cooking skills or whatever the case may be, or yeah, or whatever the case may be. What you're doing, so I guess the easier way to say is that, so for you, Miss 21-year-old female, you're saying is, I am a mentally unhealthy person who has good qualities. I'm a mentally unhealthy person who is a good listener and is, likable and attractive and so on and so forth, right? That's what you're saying. You're putting your mental health issues first. The other people are going to say, you know what, other people are going to say, I am a good listener who happens to have mental health issues. I hope you see the difference in that. Because that mentality, even switching those two words around, switching that mentality from, I'm a person with mental, I have a, I'm a, a mental health, I have a lot of mental health issues with good, I'm a person who's mentally unhealthy with good listening skills, as opposed to saying, I'm a good listener with mental health issues. I really hope that you understand that there's, even say to yourself the difference between the two, and I really think that you'll understand where I'm coming from. So, Miss 21-year-old female, stop identifying yourself with the issues that plague you, right? I'm not saying that you don't have them, but I really think you need to focus on your really great qualities and appreciate your really great qualities about you, because it doesn't really seem like you appreciate them. You even said here yourself, despite all of your great qualities, you even said here, I feel like none of that is good enough. But they so are. Listen to you. You sound fantastic. You're a good listener. You're physically affectionate. You have a well-rounded personality with lots of interesting hobbies. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Who wouldn't want that from anybody? You sound like a great person, but you are focusing way too much on your surgeries and your absent and your emotionally absent mother and your resentment in the world for the guys that you want to be attracted to you. That's why you're getting all these quote unquote country bumpkins with nothing to offer. That's why you're getting those guys. Please, Miss 21-year-old female, you have great qualities. Focus on your great qualities and how you can give those qualities to other people, you know, and make those qualities and appreciate those things and appreciate your qualities more than be resentful of what you don't have or be resentful of the things that you've had to go through in your life. Okay, that's what I have to say about you. I hope that you understand that, and people of the world, I hope that you understand what I said about that as well. Okay, if you're going through the same thing, if you feel like you're too broken to date, which a lot of people do, the next question I'm going to go through is going to be the same thing. If you're unclear about if you're unclear about your perspective, please feel free to email me. I'll have all my information at the bottom. But focus on your great qualities because I know you have some. And do not focus so much. Not really, so don't focus on, because focusing on your mental health will cure you, but don't identify as a broken person. Okay? Because you're not broken. You're just going through something right now. Okay, next one. I feel like I'm too broken to date or even have friends. This is also a lengthy one. Okay, so bear with me again, folks. I crave social interaction, and the thought of having friends or somehow a girlfriend seems extremely foreign but exciting to me. But even when I put aside my severe social anxiety, I always make myself back off because I don't want to drag them into my pit with me. All my life I felt like a broken toy that nobody wants to play with. It's happened so many times, especially when I find myself having a crush on a woman. I'm relatively grounded, so I don't overhype myself, but I still get excited. But at the same time, I get that lingering dread that I'll ruin it or drag that person down because of my depression. There's almost a comfort in it, but at the same time it hurts knowing that if I stay on this path, I'll likely live a life with no friends, very little close family, and with no family of my own. I want to love and feel loved in that way, especially when it comes to having a significant other, but I don't want to hurt any more people because I can barely cope with my own existence. An example was a little less than a year ago. I met this one woman at a tool shop I often visited, and she seemed perfect, quote unquote perfect. We liked the same type of music, and she was really cute and was only a year younger than me. We talked a few times, but I never had the balls to ask her to go out with me. Eventually, I wound up convincing myself that she'd be better off without me existing. That led down a path of feeling like I'm nothing but a burden, and I'm going to die alone. This led to a very, in hindsight, half-hearted suicide attempt where I blindly slashed my arm and left a pretty bad but not emergency room-worthy wound on my mid-forearm. Even now, after moving in with my former stepmom and feeling a bit better, I still get that feeling. There's this woman I work with who I have some feelings for at my current job. She's not drop dead gorgeous or anything, but she's cute and has an adorable laugh, and we small talk often and goof around with each other. And as risky as coworker dating is, I want to shoot my shot, but I can't shake that voice telling me I'm not good enough, or that I'm only going to ruin her life because of my mental health issues. I almost worry more about that than being rejected. And as much as I want to be with her, I feel that if I really care about her, the best thing to do is leave her alone and not involve her with my life at all. But that brings me back to the same feeling that I'm incapable of having relationships and I'm a broken toy that nobody wants. Okay, this is a perfect example of why I call this series The Demons Within Us. Because the demons of our mental health, this is exactly what I mean by demons, actually. Let me just rephrase that. This is what I mean by demons. Okay, because right now his social anxiety and his depression are telling him that he feels like he's a broken toy that nobody wants to play with. right? I always make myself back off because I don't want to drag them into the pit with me. What else does this person say? But I don't want to hurt any more people because I can barely cope with my own existence. This is the big one. Eventually, I wound up convincing myself that she'd be better off without me existing. These are the demons of our mental health. People, this is not true. This is not true. These are not good things to say. These are not positive, self-loving things that we say to ourselves. These are what the demons of our mental health says. Our anxiety tells us, what are we going to do? What if this happens? What if that happens? Or what if our depression tells us that, we're not good enough. Our self-worth tells us that we're not good enough, that this person is better off without us, right? This is why this is called the demons within us, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a lot to go over, so I'll go over probably paragraph by paragraph. Okay, so this person says, even when I put aside my severe social anxiety, I always make myself back off because I don't want to drag them into my pit with me. Okay, number one, that is not your responsibility at all. Yes, you have severe social anxiety, but the fact that you're willing to put yourself out there and shoot your shot is so great. It's so great that you're willing to do that, and I really think you should, right? I really, really think you should. But your depression or your anxiety tells you, but your demons tell you that I don't want to drag them into my pit with me. You believe that you're living in a pit. That is your belief. And what you're doing is you're imposing your belief onto that person. It is that person's responsibility to decide whether or not you are the pit. Okay? Shoot your shot. And if the person sees, because you never know what they're going to say, you're just really psyching yourself out to do this, which is not cool. You're denying yourself. You even said yourself, I crave social interaction. And somehow a girlfriend seems exciting, extremely exciting, but boring, but exciting to me. If you crave social interaction, which we all do because we're social beings, you need to nurture that. You really do, because the more you deny your cravings for social interaction, the more you deny yourself actually anything at all, that will only propel your self-hatred. Okay, the more you dismiss yourself, the more you ignore who you are, the more you dismiss your needs and your wants, and essentially who you are, pieces of who you are, all you're going to do is spiral downward more and more and more to the point where you're just going to hate yourself, right? And you even said here that you even self-harmed at one point because you eventually wound up convincing yourself that she'd be better off without you existing. Like, who said who? Said who? She never said this to you. It's just you. You never had the balls to ask her out. And eventually you convinced yourself that she'd be better off without you existing. You don't know that. You don't know that. Because you can hold down a job. It sounds here that you can hold down a job. You have the same taste in music, so you seem like you're basically you're kind of healthy in this way, but it's your thoughts. It's your thoughts that's really psyching you out. You really, I hate to say this, but you really like you're putting yourself in some sort of, you know, downward spiral that you don't belong in. It is the other person's responsibility to determine whether or not you are a suitable person. Okay? It is not your job, nor is it your responsibility to decide that for that person. Does that make sense? So if somebody were to say to me, "Oh, I've always wanted to ask you out, but I never thought that I was good enough." Like, why? What made you say that? Why? What transpired for you to believe those things? Somewhere, sometime in your life, somebody made you feel like crap, or somebody told you you were crap, and you believed it. And you believed it so much that you identified with it, and you're holding on to it and you're identifying with that. Okay? Um, okay, moving on. Okay, so you have severe social anxiety, and you have depression. Okay. It also kind of seems like, I don't know if martyring yourself is the right phrase. Like you're almost sacrificing yourself because you're such a burden that you want to save the rest of the world from your problems. No, no, you're not. No, don't. No, you're not a martyr. No, you're just a regular person with just some mental health issues. And that's okay. And that is perfectly okay. Okay, see another thing here. That led down a path of feeling like I'm nothing but a burden and I'm going to die alone. This led to a very half-hearted suicide attempt where I blindly slashed my arm and left a pretty bad but not emergency room worthy wound on my forearm. That's exactly what I mean. When you continually deny who you are, when you deny your wants and your needs, you dismiss them or you ignore them or you say, you know what, or you convince you irrationally rationalize that you're not worth it or this person is better off without you or you're better off not existing. This is where you end up. You end up almost in the emergency room. And because that's what your demons of depression do. It tells you that you're not good enough. It psychs you out. You need to break this and shoot your shot. You need to stop taking responsibility for other people's feelings and just shoot your shot. And if they say no, that's on them. Do not let do not don't convince yourself of an answer that you may not even get. What if you shoot your shot and she says yes? Then what? Right? You gotta shoot your shot. Do not continue to deny your needs and your wants. Because you're essentially denying yourself, which is why you feel suicidal. Because your inner self is dying to be loved, but you're not allowing it to be loved. Okay, here. But I can't shake that voice telling me I'm not good enough or that I'm only going to ruin her life because of my mental health issues. That's your demons of mental health. That is your severe social anxiety and your depression talking to you. Don't listen to these demons, people. Do not listen to these demons. Because it is not true that you are not good enough. The only person saying that to you is you. You're the only person who's saying that to. Or the person who told you somehow, somewhere along the line, that you believe them, that you weren't good enough. Or maybe you had some sort of experience that made you feel unworthy. Whatever it is not true. And you gotta find the root of this voice telling you that you're not good enough. It's crucial that you do that. Because once you find the root of this voice, you'll realize that it's not your own. And that for how long that you've been listening to a voice that wasn't yours. That's what happened to me. I grew up in a highly critical home. I was verbally abused for most of my childhood. I was told that I lived like a pig. I was told that I was worthless. I was told that I was stupid. I was told that I was never going to make it to university. And I made it to university. I graduated. I don't live like a pig. When I really when I really tried to figure out where those voices came from, when I really, really sat down and wanted to think about it, when I really want to take the journey and just make myself better, I realized that those voices were not my voices. Those criticisms were not my criticisms, but that of my parents, right? So people, if you find yourself being highly critical of yourself, saying things like, I don't know if I should exist, I'm not good enough, I don't want to shoot my shot, I might as well just die alone. You need to realize that those voices are not your voices. You were not born hating yourself. You weren't. You were not born that way. Somebody along the line somebody along the line that you believed was more important than you made you feel that way or said that to you. And because you deemed that person more important than you believe them. Now you got to take that back. You got to take that back and realize that your voice and your own self-opinion is more important than the opinions of other people, especially when it comes down to your own opinion of you. How are you going to take somebody else's opinion who doesn't know you as well as you know yourself and believe them instead of yourself? No, don't do that to yourself. I can understand that if it was a parent that beat that into you, your parent was highly critical of you, your parent never made you feel like you were good enough, never nurtured you, and stuff like that. That happens a lot. That happened to me too. At some point, you gotta take responsibility and get a hold of that and say, you know what, parents, mom and dad or whatever, you're wrong. You don't know me. That's what you said to me was wrong, and what you're really saying to me is really a reflection of how they're feeling about themselves, right? I realized a long time ago that my dad was always harder than me, was always harder on me than he was on my sister. And it took me a long time to learn that my dad also didn't love himself. And because I was a splitting image of him, he treated me the same way he treated himself. And I'm willing to bet that applies to, oh my God, like maybe even everybody. That it may apply to literally everybody, right? So you got to take a hold of that and start valuing your own self-opinion over your own. Erase all of the negative opinions that you had growing up about yourself because they are not true. They're not a reflection of who you really are, but a reflection of the person who is saying them to you. And develop the opinions of your own. You need to shoot your shot. You need to acknowledge your needs and your wants. You need to value your needs and your wants. Okay? And you're not too broken. You just believe that you are. You just believe it, just like with the other person. You just believe that you are, but you are not. You need to start changing your core beliefs about yourself into something more healthier because that's where the attraction is going to come, right? Especially with the 21-year-old female. She needs to change her core beliefs about herself so that that law of attraction will kick in. So she'll start attracting the type of people who appreciate themselves just like she will start to appreciate herself. Okay? And I think that's all I have to say about that. I could go on, but I'm just going to be redundant at this point, talking about the same things over and over. So once again, I'm your host for this Q&A, Knock Knock Neo. If you want to stay, if you want to keep listening, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about myself. Like I said, I am an active listener, and I am someone who is just trying to help. I really feel like I can help. I started off volunteering on the Seven Cups platform. If you want to check out my profile is sevencups.com slash at knock knock neo. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see, let me try that again. Sevencups.com slash at knock knock neo. There we go. This is my Seven Cups listening profile. You can check that out for yourself. You do not need, as you can see here, you do not need to create an account. But this is where I started off. These are all of the things that I can talk to about about people, talk about people that I've helped, the reviews. What really makes me smile is my feedback. Things here like caring and attentive. It says here that he asks intelligent questions. This is an anonymous chat site, and I don't list my gender here because I don't think gender has any bearing on whether or not I can help people. So awesome chat and good listener. Thank you for listening to me. One of the best and most kind listeners on the platform. I really just want to help, and I really think I can, and I really believe that this is the best way that I can do it because everyone's going to feel these things. Everyone's going to feel like they're too broken to date somebody. Everyone, my next topic here, just a preview. I have no interests or hobbies. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of people want to know how they get hobbies. A lot of people feel like they feel aimless. And if they don't have a Reddit account or Seven Cups account, then they're gonna seek help from people who just don't know how to help, or people or paid counselors, and I feel like because I really just know how to help people and I really feel like I want to. I want to because I have to, because I need to. I need to. It's it's what I do. It's really what I do. And I think it's what I'm good at. And this is how I believe I was chosen to be to this I believe this is how I choose to contribute to society in a positive way. So, if you want to contact me, you can contact me at knockknockneoyt@gmail.com and I'll answer your emails. If you want to check out my work on Reddit, my Reddit handle is at thedemonswithinus. What else? You already check out my Seven Cups profile. And I think that is it. Yep, I think that is it for today. Until next time, and once again, thank you very, very much for listening to what I've had to say. I hope it helps you. I hope that what I've told you today helps you, helps others. And until next time, take care and goodbye.